Unpeated Islay Whisky is one of my favourite styles of Scotch, and today I'm going to find out which of these two more affordable versions is really worth your cash. Hello and welcome back to the channel, and yes, today I'm taking a look at two unpeated Islay whiskies to work out which, as I say, of these two more affordable versions are actually worth buying. Now, straight hands up, I really like both of these, so it's going to be quite a difficult one, but I've never had them side by side, and in terms of affordability and availability, they are pretty similar. Now, the first bottle we've got today is the Bunnahabhain 12. This comes in at 46.3%, which is 92.6 proof for viewers who would rather have that metric. And we've got the Bruichladdich Classic Laddie, which comes in at 50% or 100 proof. So they are very similar. Now, it is slightly unfair of me just to say unpeated Scotch whisky, but well, the Bruichladdich actually says on the label unpeated Islay single malt Scotch whisky. The Bunnahabhain though doesn't say it, but well, I'm pretty sensitive when it comes to peat. I'll be honest, I like the flavour. It doesn't like me so much. I get kind of instant heartburn with it, which is really annoying as a whisky fan, but it is what it is and I can't change it. But having tried this in a pub a while back, and actually it was Bunnahabhain, the UK's tallest pub, the highest pub. It's not a really tall building. In the UK's highest pub, Bunnahabhain, a few months ago, and yeah, it was fantastic, and it definitely wasn't heavily peated. A little bit of research says there is probably the tiniest bit in it, so they don't call it an unpeated Islay, but well, it's about as close as we're going to get after the Bruichladdich here. And both of these bottles are in the £40 to £50 region normally. The Bunnahabhain 12 tends to be more kind of exactly between 40 and 45, give or take, whereas the Bruichladdich I've seen as low as 32 and as high as like 55. So a bit more variance. The Bruichladdich though is available in some supermarkets, so it is a touch more easily available, but all your good whisky stores will have both of these, so not really an issue at all. Now, the Bruichladdich is one I've been recommending for absolutely months now, and to the point where actually there's not a lot left in that bottle, so we might even be killing this off today. On the flip side, this Bunnahabhain 12 is unopened, so it's a new bottle opening and one probably going the other way, so yeah, it will definitely be quite interesting. The Bruichladdich does not state that it is a finished whisky. It doesn't list what cask it was finished in. However, the Bunnahabhain was both bourbon and sherry, I believe, so we're expecting some more interesting in-depthy notes from that, but yeah, let's get into it. I've just taken the foil cap off the Bunnahabhain, and it's got a quite a nice little foil top cap to it. I've not actually showed you the bottle, so we'll give it a quick look before we pour. But yeah, the Bunnahabhain, it looks very classic, that one, I'd say. It's got a darker bottle than most Scotches go for, but other than that, it's a dark green bottle. But as I say, otherwise, it's pretty classic Scotch stuff here. Meanwhile, the Bruichladdich is in this brilliant colourway, the bright kind of, it's greeny blue. I'm not even sure what to call it. It's not even turquoise. It's really something else, and actually it's so bright that the light's blasting it out while it's on camera now. But if you go and try and find one of these, it will now probably look quite different because they have rebranded recently. They've gone down this whole very environmental conscious ethos route, which is fantastic. They've redesigned their bottles to, well, make them more eco-sustainable, first to create and also to ship. So yeah, they will look a little bit different. I'll pop an image on screen now of what they now look like. But yeah, fantastic thing. And I've just been on their website for a little bit of research before this video, and truthfully, I think it's the best looking site I've seen for a while. And for those of you who don't know, my day job is a web designer / developer, and yeah, I was geeking out a little bit when I looked at their site. It was just classy, is what I'll say. But anyway, let's get into this. So first off, I'm going to pour the Bunnahabhain, let it breathe for a minute. Decent sound. Good thud. Right then, in the glass, it has to be said, the Bruichladdich is definitely a paler dram, but important to note that both of these are both non-chill filtered and have no colouring added, so they are proper as they came out the barrel, although watered down a little bit, I guess. But yeah, they're pretty much exactly as they should be. Obviously, that Bunnahabhain having that kind of sherry and bourbon cask finish, that's probably where a lot of that colouring is coming from, but also the fact that it is an age statement whiskey. It's a 12-year-old, whereas the Bruichladdich isn't, so it's probably a little bit younger, but yeah, quite a distinct difference there. Very kind of yellow and pale straw on the Bruichladdich, whilst the Bunnahabhain much richer, much more kind of a soft golden hue to it, but they both look decent, just very different. I'm going to go for the Bunnahabhain 12 first. I've not had a good Scotch for a while. I've been focused too much on US whiskey. I don't know why. I get a bit sidetracked sometimes and end up down a rabbit hole trying one of the same style. And oh, I shouldn't have, because that is glorious. It's nice, big, rich, fruity, candied orange zest, plums, figgy, like, yeah, loads of sweet fruits in there. It has got some ethanol hit on the nose, but it's not too sharp. I can see why they didn't just go out and call it an unpeated Islay completely, because there is just a hint. There is just a hint of smoke in there, but it's just adding to the fact that it's kind of this cooked fruit nose profile that it's got. It's just absolutely fantastic. There might be some pineapple in there. This is one of those that you could sit and just smell for hours, and you keep coming out with something different every time. Been sat there for a while now and I'm starting to get a few kind of medicinal TCP, antiseptic notes out of it. Very common though for island and coastal Scotch whiskies that. There is a slight savouriness to it. I'm thinking this is going to have a bit of a kind of salty sea air salinity about it, but not quite sure based on the aroma. And I'll be honest, when I was drinking this up at Tan Hill Inn, I was drinking it side by side with some Old Peculiar out of the old school wooden casks. So I'll be honest, it was just, yeah, it was one of those experiences that you're not going to forget anytime soon. Right then, let's just have a quick nose on the Bruichladdich real quickly. Much softer, much less punchy, though do remember this has been open for a bit. It's probably got a little bit of oxidation, although it's not been open for that long, despite the fact it's nearly empty. I do need to get another bottle. It's softer, more citrusy notes. Definitely less sweet, little bit herbal, little bit oaky. And again, weirdly, the same kind of very slight peaty note I thought I was picking up on the Bunnahabhain 12. There's a tiny bit of it in this as well. And I'm thinking it's not really necessarily the fact that the malt is peat smoked. It might just be, well, the environment that it's in. The fact that there is, you know, a lot of smoked barley products around, and just a hint. Just a hint. Some coastal notes as well. It's got quite a... It's reminding me of like those fancy seaweed and fennel hand soaps you get in some places. Like, it's that... It's not quite there, but like there's something definitely leaning that way. It's much more simple, but it feels much more true to form, true to basic Scotch, if that makes any sense. Right then, this will be very interesting. Now, I am still going to do the Bunnahabhain first because it is the lower ABV, but actually I think flavour-wise, I am just anticipating it being quite a bit more intense, but it is what it is. We always go in ABV order, so we're going to do it this time. Cheers. Big, boozy, Christmas pudding, figgy pudding, like bit nutty, dates, figs, raisins, sultana, candied orange peel, very much like it was on the nose really. It really comes true to form. The alcohol, the ethanol's not too prominent on the palate, it's not really burning, but it has got this kind of almost kind of cleansing, airway clearing, almost menthol property, but without the proper minty hit. It's got a pretty decent body on it actually. Like, it's not a thick, it's not syrupy, but it's far from a thin whiskey, and there's a note in the aftertaste that's just quite cleansing, very pleasing, and I'm trying to put my finger exactly on what it is.
6.5 hours later.
And I think I've just got it. It's reminding me, weirdly, a bit of a tequila slammer, which is not the most positive review when it comes to a whiskey, but hear me out here, because it's not the whole experience, it's just two very specific things. Firstly, probably no surprise, it's the salt. That combined with, not lemon in this instance, but like that candied orange peel that I was talking about earlier. And it's just delivering this kind of sweet, sour, salty blend that, well, yeah, I mean, that really is terrific. Right then, water break. And on to what has been my old faithful when it comes to Scotch for the last year. Yeah, this Bruichladdich Classic Laddie. I don't know what it is. It's a funny one, and I remember this. I remember thinking before, you put it on the nose, you go, it smells alright. It smells like generic, not generic Scotch. It doesn't smell like generic Scotch, because that's doing them a disservice. It doesn't have any hyper pronounced notes on the nose. But then you take a sip, and I'm going to do it now. Cheers. It's just got this beautiful, balanced, almost unbelievably natural appeal to it. Now, what I said before about actually I think the Bunnahabhain 12 is going to kind of blast my palate out in comparison to the Bruichladdich, and hands up, yes, it has. Like, it's taken me a few sips to start to really be able to bring this back in, but now it's coming in with full force. It's like, it's super honeyed, kind of fresh, crisp fruit, you know, I think kind of apple, pear, the soft tones of those things. Really almost refreshing, oddly, but with this nice kind of slightly sugary, syruped honey kind of thing going on. I mean, it's just... And then again, with that slightly salty sea breeze aftertaste, just to kind of round it out and stop everything getting too sweet at the end. It's a funny one, this, because right up front, it's very clean, very cleansing, not too much sweet fruit like there was at the start of the Bunnahabhain. I keep having to look at the bottle to remember the name, because Bunnahabhain and Bruichladdich they're not the same, but they're in the same speech part of your mouth, and I keep tripping myself over here. But it's got this really clean, like, again, like I said about the other one, nearly menthol, but not quite. But it's got this crisp, fresh fruit thing going on. And it's like, yeah, it's totally the opposite, almost, of the Bunnahabhain. That's big, rich, puddingy. This is like summer salad-y, almost, but with fruits. Kind of, yeah, fresh fruit summer salad versus the big old Christmas figgy pudding is what we've got here. Ultimately, what I'm seeing here actually is now that, well, I kind of want both of these, and I have got both of them, thankfully, that actually, well, the Bunnahabhain, fantastic winter dram, like really rich, very indulgent, mood-raising, all the rest of it. And actually the Bruichladdich, much more refined, reserved, fantastic summer sipper, if I don't say so myself. It's really got this absolute class and refinement. There are less flavours in it, there's less to go at. Let's be honest, my review of this one has been shorter, and I don't really have a lot more to say about it. That's all I'm really getting from it. Partly because my palate's just been blasted by the Bunnahabhain, but I don't need to tell you how much I like this by the fact that, well, this bottle is nigh on empty. How much is left in here? Okay, there's a bit more than I thought. Maybe there's a third of a bottle left, but anyway. It is, I just keep going for it. The good or bad thing about these bottles is that you can't see how much you've drank. So on one note, it always looks nice on the shelf because it's not a nearly empty bottle. On the flip side, I don't know until it's gone how much I need to buy another one. So there is that. These are both incredible. Can I pick a favourite? I'm torn. I'm really torn because I've enjoyed the Bruichladdich so much over the last year. I keep recommending it to people. I do truly think it's fantastic. But it is a cold, cold day in February here in the UK, and as a result, the Bunnahabhain right now is the one I actually want to drink. But it does feel like a finished whiskey. Like, it's got a lot of bourbon character, a lot of sherry character, and I'm not getting heaps amount of the core whiskey through itself, with the exception of that bit of salinity at the end. Meanwhile, the Bruichladdich feels like this is a product of where it was made through and through. So yeah, I'm a bit torn. I mean, I want both. Truthfully, I want both. The actual answer as to which one you should buy, given that they are the same price, I'd ignore the age statement, truthfully, because yes, this is a 12-year-old, but this is a little bit stronger in terms of ABV, so it's much of a muchness in my mind. If you are a bourbon fan, if you like sweeter things, then it's the Bunnahabhain all day long. If you like Scotch but don't like heavily peated stuff and just want a good proper expression and or something that will make a fantastic summer sipper, the Bruichladdich gets the pick. But truthfully, if you like unpeated Islas, both. You got to get both. That is the only way to do it. Just before we wrap this up though, I need to know from you, are there any other whiskies, unpeated, Islers or otherwise, that you would like me to see put either of these two head to head against to work out which one you should be buying? Please let me know in the comments and I will do my best to answer those questions, especially, well, if I've got a bottle in, it will definitely get answered, and if I haven't, I'll try and get one for you. But yeah, that is pretty much it for these two. I've had an absolute blast here today because, well, I knew I loved both of these, and putting them side by side showed me that despite me thinking I just like unpeated Islay, which I do, they are radically different bottles. But yeah, as I say, otherwise that really is everything. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you would be so kind, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.